Hi guys, we are just getting ready to start the next part of our session. Hope you've all had time to grab a drink and a toilet break whilst we had the time there. We will be handing over in a second to Bakti. Like I said, the handouts for these next two talks are ready and uploaded into the handouts. So feel free to download those. And like we said, this is all being recorded. So if you miss anything, don't worry, we'll be able to get the video across to yourself. It'll be on our resources page. So no worries there. And like I said, yeah, as well, feel free to donate to our charity link. The donation button's just at the top as well. Thank you so much to everyone who's already donated. It's really nice to see those donations coming through and getting started, helping us to reach our goal. Great. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to our next talk, which is an introduction to LinkedIn ads from Bakti. Now, Bakti is a paid media account director here at Anicca. She specializes in social media side of things. She's got over 7 years experience in social media, and she's done a lot of work with B2B and B2C brands. These include Experian, IBM, Dykman Shoes, Warwick Business School, and the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. And she's also ran successful advertising campaigns on key social platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Snapchat. So she's very well versed in this, so she is definitely the expert. So thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to Bakti.
Hi, thank you for joining my session today. I'll be running through the basics of LinkedIn, setting up LinkedIn's ad manager. I'll talk through setting up your first campaign, the different campaign objectives available through the platform, its targeting capabilities, ad formats. Although very important, due to time restrictions, I'm not going to be covering advanced features on the platform, including setting up conversion tracking and matched audiences. So first, I'm going to talk through why LinkedIn advertising. So LinkedIn advertising has very unique and rich targeting capabilities. Its career-focused targeting criteria allows you to allows advertisers to specify industry, company size, job title of individuals that they want to display their ads to, and that includes 10 million C-suite members, and that's growing. That's something that no other advertising platform can really offer at the moment. You can specify and reach people by company name, so target people by the companies that they work within, a company's growth rate, so you can reach a fast-growing organizations. You can target users by their schools that they attended, so where exactly did they study, job seniorities, so do you want to reach interns or top-level executives, job titles, member skills, and a couple more which I'll go through during this presentation. There are some more advanced, rich targeting capabilities. So there's website retargeting, which allows you to collect cookies from visitors who are coming to your website from your LinkedIn campaigns, and this way you can re-engage with these visitors again at a later date. There's also contact targeting, and with contact targeting, you are able to upload a list of existing contacts and serve ads to those users. So they could be a database of email addresses of leads or existing customers. And then there's account targeting, which allows you to upload a list of your accounts, so your company names, target company names, to match against LinkedIn's database. So if you layer those different aspects with job titles of seniority, you could reach decision makers at your target companies. Through LinkedIn's B2B targeting options, you can make sure that your ads are being seen by the right people, but also that they're taking the right actions too, whether it's brand awareness, audience engagement, driving qualified traffic to your site, lead generation, boosting website conversions, and so on. So in 2016, you may have already heard this, Microsoft acquired LinkedIn. And ever since they bought the platform, they have made some significant investments in the social network to bring it in line with the mainstream social networks. So they've introduced a number of new features, including conversion tracking, remarketing, lookalike audiences, audience templates, and integrating Bing search data for interest targeting. And they're making developments even now. So soon they'll be introducing stories placement for advertising and stories ads. So how to advertise on LinkedIn? So it starts with creating your ad account. So advertising on LinkedIn is a two-step process. First step is to set up your campaign on LinkedIn, and the second is to create your ads. So in the process of starting from scratch, when it comes to setting up LinkedIn Campaign Manager, your advertising campaigns will sit on a separate platform from the LinkedIn that you see every day that you log into. And this platform is called LinkedIn Marketing Solutions platform. So you'll need to visit this page to get started on your campaigns. And you can see that I've circled on the top right-hand corner the button to click to create ad. So you just click on this button to create ad. And then from there, you'll be taken to the screen here. You'll be prompted to create a LinkedIn Campaign Manager account if you haven't already. And at this stage, you will associate your LinkedIn company page. So connect your LinkedIn company page. Next, you'll be taken to your member dashboard. And if you haven't already entered your billing details, you'll be prompted to enter your card details in order to unlock your account. But you don't need to worry at this point, you won't be charged. You'll only be charged once your campaign is actually live, and you'll be charged periodically for clicks and engagements depending on how you've set up your campaign. So on your dashboard or campaign manager, which it's formally called, you'll see a button on the top right-hand corner called Create Campaign. You'll click that button and you'll be redirected to a page where you can start to set up your campaign. So as of 2019, LinkedIn introduced a new objective-based campaign creation experience, and I'll be going through that during this talk. So first, you will indicate a campaign group and name your campaign. So campaign groups help you to organize your overall campaigns. You can leave the default campaign group as it is, or you can create a new campaign group. So campaign groups are useful if you're wanting to run a specific spike campaign with a set amount of budget. You may want to create a campaign group for this piece of activity with a range of campaigns relating to that single piece of content to run within that group. So you can have different campaign types within a single campaign group. You can have up to 200 campaigns within one campaign group, and you can manage a total budget, start and end dates within that single group. So for example, you may have a piece of content which has an expiry date. So you'll want to group all of those campaigns together and set an end date of when you want that campaign to end. And as for the campaign name, they are only visible internally. So I do recommend that you choose a really informative and descriptive name, especially if you've got multiple people working on that campaign. So, for example, if I was doing a test to determine best type of audience targeting, I might use a title X spike campaign name, whatever the content is, United Kingdom, marketing job titles, age 25 to 45. So that name describes exactly who I'm targeting without having to actually go into the campaign details to see who how I've populated the audience. So compare this to something like Marketing Audience 1. It doesn't give you any kind of information. It doesn't indicate anything about who the ad is targeting. So once you choose your campaign group and name, you can start to set up your LinkedIn campaign and select your objective. So we'll run through setting up your LinkedIn ad campaign objective. So mentioned earlier on this morning, LinkedIn introduced a an objective-based workflow in 2019. So the whole interface was completely redesigned. And if you run ads on Facebook, you'll see that the workflow is very similar in that it's objective-based. So the campaign creation workflow for LinkedIn ads begins with defining a goal and your objectives for the campaign. So first you choose your campaign objective. And there are 3 overarching campaign themes which fall under awareness, consideration, and conversions. Under those themes, some campaign objectives include website visits. So if you're wanting to drive traffic to your website and landing pages, engagement to increase engagement on your content, boost followers on your company page. There's also video views, so if you're wanting to increase exposure of your videos to people who are more likely to engage with them, and lead generation is another one that's within there. So if you're wanting to show a lead generation form with pre-populated profile data, you can select the linked lead generation objective. So going into a bit more detail around the 7 objectives that you can choose from. So we've got brand awareness as the first one. So if you're wanting to gain more eyeballs on your ads, they're great for raising awareness of your product, services, or company. And different objectives will give you different ad formats available to use. So as part of the brand awareness objective, you can create a single image ad. Website visits, if you're wanting to drive traffic to your site, there are a number of different ad formats that you can use as part of this. So text ads, single image ads, carousels, and so on. And then engagement, if you're wanting to get more people to engage with your posts or increase follower numbers on your company page, you can select the engagement objective. And then video views, it kind of speaks for itself if you're wanting to encourage more people to watch your videos. And obviously the video format available, the ad format available will be video ads. So going on to a couple more objectives. So lead generation, mentioned this earlier, if you're wanting to capture leads directly through LinkedIn, you'd select the lead generation objective. Website conversions. Now, this one's slightly different to website traffic because you need to have something called an insight tag installed onto your site, which is a piece of code which allows information to be passed from your website to LinkedIn. So you must have your insight tag set up in order to run website conversion ads. And then job applicants is to encourage more to gather people together, to get people to submit their information if they're wanting to apply for a job. So ad formats available for this campaign is job ads, single image ads, and spotlight ads. Some ad types I'm not going to go into too much detail just because we're limited with time, but I will focus on sponsored content today. So once you have selected your objective, the next step is to choose your LinkedIn audience. So you're wanting to choose the parameters of your target audience, and the more specific and relevant it is to your audience that you're wanting to reach, the better it will perform. So LinkedIn allows you to target according to a couple of different categories, which I'll go through in a bit more detail, but you don't want to use all of these options. The more specific your targeting criteria, the more relevant it's likely to be, and the better the response will be from your target audience. So firstly, you want to answer a couple of basic questions like language, in which you'd like your ad to appear. It can be written in any of the 20 languages that LinkedIn supports, and some of those languages include Spanish, French, German. You must also select one location for your ad, so you can be as broad as Europe, United Kingdom, or as specific as Leicester City area. So LinkedIn recently introduced predefined templates, and what this helps you to do is to pick from a pre-populated audience. So there are a couple within there. So you may want to, for example, target procurement professionals. There's a predefined audience template within LinkedIn that you can choose from. It's a good starting point, especially if you're new to advertising on LinkedIn, and it's great as a point of reference too. So I'm going to go into a bit more detail around the specific attributes that you can target users by on LinkedIn. So you are targeting people based on the information that they've inputted into their LinkedIn profile. So you can target by very specific attributes like company name, industry, the company size, so the size of the company that they work at, their job title, job function, job seniority, and so on. So you may notice that when you are starting to build your audience that you can't select related criteria. So for example, if you select company name, you won't also be able to select company industry or company size. Likewise, if you select job title, you won't be able to select job function or job seniority. So if your target audience has a certain employer, you can target them directly by name, but you don't necessarily need to have that kind of specific information. So if you don't have company names, LinkedIn will allow you to target companies based on the industry that they fall within. So that could be legal, non-profit, finance, and by company size. I would recommend that you exclude your own company from the targeting, just because you want to avoid wasting your ad budget by serving ads to your staff. You can also target by company growth rate and company category, which are fairly recent additions. With company category, you can target companies that fall within categories like Forbes World's Most Innovative Company or Fortune 100 Fast Growing Companies. That's the way that it's kind of been categorized. So going into more detail, so you can target users by education. If you're looking to target people that have a particular educational background or they studied at a certain university, you can target your ads based on schools. So you may also want to target a certain alumni if that's relevant to you. You can reach out to alumni students through a LinkedIn ad by targeting by member schools. So job experience, you can choose specific job titles like I mentioned, or choose from specific job function, seniority and years of experience. And there's also the option to target by member skills, and that's based on the skills that members have inputted into their LinkedIn profile. So you may want to target by a certain skill like resource planning or risk management. So it's worth thinking about what your target audience does and what they're likely to list as a skill. Sorry. So moving on to interests. Member interest targeting was recently developed to include Bing search data. So obviously because of Microsoft acquisition, we're now able to access Bing search data through member interest targeting. So what this means for advertisers is that you'll be able to target members not only by their professional interests on LinkedIn, but also by professional topics and content that they've engaged with on Bing. So once you have started to pull your audience profile together within LinkedIn, you will start to see an estimated audience size. So this window that you can see in this slide here will be presented on the right-hand side of the screen. So you're able to see forecasted results, and when you toggle between different ad types, you'll see that the forecasted results box will change. So this feature analyzes your campaign parameters, so your targeting, your bid, your budget, start and end dates, and it takes into account similar campaign setups from other advertisers. And what it does is it simulates the ad auction to generate estimated results for you based on previous activity from similar advertisers. The minimum audience size that's required to run an advertising campaign is 300 members, but LinkedIn does suggest around 50,000. But it's worth keeping in mind that there's no one size fits all recommendation in terms of audience size. So if you're targeting niche audiences, you may struggle to reach that 50,000. But I do highly recommend testing multiple audiences to see what works best for you. If you do start your campaign with broader targeting, I do recommend that you optimize and narrow down your audience after seeing what's performing best. So looking at click-through rates through demographic reporting. So LinkedIn's demographic reporting gives you anonymous information around who's engaging with your results, and you can see data based on job titles, job functions, and start refining your audiences that way. Okay, so next, once you've built your audience and you've got your projected results, the next step is to choose your ad format. So once you've chosen your target audience, the ad format options presented to you will vary depending on your initial ad objective. So I ran through the ad formats available for the different objectives earlier on in the presentation when we're running through the objectives in a bit more detail. So due to time restrictions, I am going to focus on sponsored content today. They are the most common ad type that we employ for our clients. And these ads are very similar to organic posts in the way that they look, since they blend in quite well into the feed. So sponsored content is available in 3 different formats: single image ads, which is just a single image, carousel ads, which this example shows you, which is 2 or more images within an ad that you can scroll through, and then video ads, which is 1 video. This type of ad format typically delivers higher click-through rates compared to other ad formats such as text ads. And using sponsored content, you can get your message out on every device. So that's desktop, tablet, and mobile. Whereas with text ads, for example, your ads are only displayed on desktop. And you can use rich media, so images and videos, to help your ads stand out amongst the feed. And according to LinkedIn, sponsored content typically sees a 10 times higher click-through rate over text ads. So you've selected your ad type, your ad format. So now you need to choose whether or not you want your ad to be displayed on the LinkedIn Audience Network. So LinkedIn's Audience Network is LinkedIn's third-party platforms, apps and websites where your ad can be displayed onto, and it's useful for gaining more reach and exposure. So this option isn't available for every ad type, and there's no site of which apps and websites your ad's going to be displayed onto. Normally we choose to disable this feature just because there's limited control, but what you can do if you were to select this option is choose to exclude and block certain categories and apps if you don't want your ad to be displayed on those types of websites or apps, mobile apps. So the next step is to set your ad budget and schedule, and you'd select your bidding options at this point too. So you'll set your daily budget for what works best depending on what your marketing spend is. And it's worth remembering that LinkedIn will either overspend around 20%. So when we are setting our daily budget, we normally deduct around 20% to factor in that overspend. So you can set your budget based on a daily budget, a lifetime budget, and a lifetime and daily budget. We would always recommend setting a lifetime and daily budget just for added control to avoid running. So you could be running your ads, and if you only select a daily budget and you forget about them, which you shouldn't, you could end up spending lots of money and forgetting that you have an ad campaign running. And we'd always recommend setting your end date as well, setting a schedule, so your start and end date, to make sure that your campaign ends when it's supposed to. So the next step is to set your optimization goal and bidding strategy. So it's important to note that LinkedIn uses an auction system for bidding, and it rewards engagement, which means that you could win an auction without being the highest bidder. So the optimization goal that's displayed will vary depending on the initial objective that you chose during the first window of setup. And for your bidding strategy, you can choose between two different options: automated bidding and manual bidding. So automated bidding uses machine learning to help you optimize your entire budget to get more clicks, impressions, conversions, but you do pay on an impression basis. Because you're going to have your ad seen by as many people. And then target cost, you may have a particular cost in mind for a conversion or click, which you can enter within that box. But based on the amount that you enter, LinkedIn will automatically adjust the bid to help you get the most possible results. But the daily average cost shouldn't exceed 30% of your target cost that you do input. So the next step is to, and this is the final step, is to build your LinkedIn ad. So this section corresponds to the type of LinkedIn ad you're going to choose for the campaign, but because we are using the example of building sponsored content ad campaign, we're going to use sponsored content as our example in the preview screen that you can see here. So where I've circled create new ad, you would click that button and start to fill in fields displayed within the second box. So that includes your ad creative, which is the artwork or graphic that you want your ad audience to see as part of your ad. The ad headline, which is the kind of where you'd have your call to action. Your ad description will also sit under your headline, your destination URL, which is where you want to send your users to, and your call to action button. So you can choose from predefined call to action buttons, and some of those call to action buttons include learn more, register, sign up, and there's a couple more in there too. So once you've built the ad, you'll start to see a preview on the right-hand side. So you can see a preview, a desktop preview and a mobile preview, just so that you can see how the ad will look like once it is published. And that's the final step. So next, we want to review and launch. So you will get a chance before you do publish a campaign to see a final review of your campaign setup, so the audience targeting, how long the campaign will run for, and then your forecasted results. So as soon as you've reviewed and you're happy, there'll be the option on the top right hand side of the screen to hit publish, where you can launch a campaign. And that is it. So hi, Jess.
Thank you so much. There was just one question that has come up, which I don't know if you'll be able to answer quickly, which was, what's a good click-through rate for LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn recommends 0.5% is a healthy click-through rate. Just the general average amongst different types of industries. If you're getting over 0.5%, your ad's doing really well. It's a really healthy click-through rate.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Bakti's slides are in the handout, so if you want to go back through, and like we said, the recording will also be available, so if you want to watch again. If anybody does have questions or anything like that, then tweet us and use the hashtag #AskAnicca, and we'll be able to get Bakti on and we'll answer some of those questions that you've got. But thank you so much, Bakti.
No problem. Thanks for joining.